Hey everybody, welcome to the soft launch of the Indie Takeover. Today I'm going to be going over a ton of indie comics that I have either purchased or backed, just to give people like an idea of what's out there and go check them out yourself. I'll have everything linked below that I can find. Some things were off Amazon. It should still be available, but most of these are on crowdfunding sites or personal websites, so I will link those in the description so you can check them out yourself. So I'm going to start off with Hatch. I think I went over this at some point, maybe. I don't remember. There was something I was recording and I was talking about Hatch, and yeah. So this is from a UK artist, Glenn Fleming and his wife Helen. So I have two books here. The premise of Hatch is it's just this little guy going on adventures in his hatch right here. And it just goes through like a lot of fun, gimmicky, not gimmicky, but like just fun adventures and goofy things that happen while he's in his hatch. Like he finds his hatch on a train track all of a sudden. And it's very simplistic art, but it's like the composition of each panel, it works really well. So it makes it interesting. And I just really enjoyed it when I first heard about it in a video from the founders of Fund My Comic. And I was like, well, I want to, check this out. And yeah, it had that like really classic, like, charm of comics that you read in the newspaper and stuff, which I used to do a lot when I was little, especially Gilbert. I don't know, I just, my dad liked it, so I would read those a lot. I enjoyed those, and it just reminded me of that, so I backed it, and I really enjoy it. Like, it's got a lot of spreads like this, and it's just fun. And then what came with it was the ash can, which is like just black and white. This is some extra stuff in it as well. And I really like the simplicity, but also there's a lot of detail in this. Like this panel here, you can tell that he's picking up sheets of paper. And it's very simple in its composition and everything, but there's enough detail there that he's on some strange planet, those are sheets of paper, something weird is going on, it's just weird stuff, or fun stuff, So, this is my favorite, I think. And I think it was seeing a lot of these illustrations in the comic that really sold me on it, because I think they're beautiful. They're very nicely drawn out. They clearly had a lot of care in their layout and design, and yeah. So if you're looking for just something really simple to enjoy, like the old school like newspaper comics, or just want something fun and unique, I would definitely recommend looking at Hatch. I don't know. I've gone through this a couple times, believe it or not. It's just fun, and I really like the illustrations. All right, so the next one I'm going to go through is Bloodstain. This is by, I can't pronounce her last name, so I'm not really going to try. It's just like a comedy, really. It's not anything like super serious. The premise is she struggles to keep a job, and it's kind of a issue with her family because she doesn't take any of the jobs she does get seriously, and when she finally does get a job, she winds up losing it to no fault of her own and feels just defeated. Like she actually did what she was supposed to do, it worked out, and then she lost it not because of her work ethic or anything, but because of just circumstances regarding business. And she is determined to do that again and prove that she can get a job and hold it down, and becomes an assistant to this guy who's just like a general scientist and educator at a college, but he's just very cranky, very mean, very stuck in his ways, even though his stuff is very chaotic. So I really liked, this was like a really nice quote. I think this was like the first comic I bought after a long time that wasn't manga. I don't want to say my first indie comic because I've backed a few things prior to this, but I never actually got physical copies. It was just like, yeah, I'll support your project type thing. But I really like the art, the paneling, the ability to express emotion in the characters, which is really nice. And these, like, they have a lot of fun with their stuff. It's not just a serious story, but they keep a good balance of humor and story and serious moments. And I haven't gotten the fourth one yet. Let's see. Yeah, this is where she realizes, like, she's not sure if she's doing the right things and stuff like that. So, yeah. Because she's not sure if she's actually helping him because he gets mad so often at her cleaning his laboratory, which is an issue because then everything becomes a big mess. Stuff like that. So it's got like a lot of character conflict from that. He needs to basically learn to trust other people and be better at talking to other people, just relating to other people, because he's gone through so many assistants and he has standards that are unrealistic and learning to cope with that. So yeah. I just enjoyed it. I got this off Amazon. Like I said, the fourth one is out. I haven't gotten it yet. I think she has this free to read online via Webtoons or Tapas or something. I have to check it out. I don't like to read online stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. I like to hold it and get into a space of just reading it quietly, not on the computer. So, but if you don't or can't buy it, it is there. So yeah, I liked it. It was fun. Hopefully I can get the fourth one soon. And yeah, and the quality is actually really nice too, which is always fun. So here are two comics from Rise Gang Comics from Von Klaus. So I got this as an add-on for this campaign. This was on Indiegogo. And it is Terror in the Trenches, and I believe is based off, presumably now public domain hero from back in the day. The main reason I wanted his comics was because of the art style. I love styles like this. I'm a little bit, I don't want to say art snob, but I like stylized stuff. It's always going to happen. I grew up with DC animated stuff and the old cartoons, and that's just always been a thing for me. So I backed this. This poster, little mini print poster thing, is from Dan Lawless, who is another fantastic artist. He is also on YouTube if you want to check out his tutorials. I got a patch. I think I got a sticker in there. I like to keep this stuff in like the packaging because I don't like to take it out. So, but I am going to take the comic out so I can show you. And then once we go over Terror in the Trenches, I'll go over this one because this was, I don't always pay attention to what I'm backing, like page count wise. So when I got this thing is fucking huge. Like that's thicker than the Terror in the Trenches. That is a huge. It's just a big book. The premise is he's back in New York after World War II, I believe, fighting the Nazis and stuff like that, and he's kind of like a normal doctor, but he had this stuff he could breathe in that would make him powerful, and he just went on a freaking spree and killed a bunch of people. And it's helped him live a long time, and just he hasn't really aged, but he's a doctor. And he takes care of other people. Sort of not safe for work, but basically because of who he is in his history, he has a target on his head from Nazis, as you can see here, right there. who hate him for what he did. So he is a target for those who were left over and stayed behind. So now he has to, his whole city gets blown up, and he's obviously pissed, and he has to go take care of what these freaks are doing now, basically going after his city and trying to go after him, and kind of in a way of revenge. And we see some other characters that help him pop up, and I don't want to give too much away, but I just love the art in this, and the paneling's really good. There's some fan art that's in the back. And this is all the supporters. I just love everything about this style. It's just very fun. And I think what was really nice too, there's a lot of simple panels in terms of like, it's not 50, but it's not like 10, 20 panels on the page. He keeps it very simple, but they're very effective. You know, he does a lot of full page spreads as well, which I love. It's just, I really enjoyed this. I definitely recommend it, and I'm really excited for the second book. Like, look at this. This is just fantastic to me. It's not super wordy. We have a lot going on in these 2 panels. It's just good. I just like it. So, definitely check this out. I can't wait for the next one. The style is just fantastic. The story was intense. Yeah, and it has a little bit of humor in it, and nothing too over the top because of the nature of the story, but it's enough to like not lighten the mood necessarily, but kind of like help relieve some of that tension, you know? So yeah, this was good. I'm excited for the next one. All right, so this one, Monster MD. So this was like an add-on for Terror in the Trenches campaign. So I'm like, yeah, I like monsters. Why not? And the style looks similar to Terror in the Trenches. So I'm like, I think it's the same artist, actually. I don't know if this was like an older campaign or what, but I just wanted it. And I don't pay attention, like I said, to page count or anything when I back these things. I just go, oh, I didn't realize it was going to be so big. And there's actually like a supplemental extra story that I haven't actually read yet. It's on my list of things to finish, but so this is pretty big. I have a floppy and an actual hardcover bound. Or not hardcover, but the square binding, I forgot what it's called. All right, and this is really thick too. Like, it was very difficult to get out of this packaging. So my only, I didn't want the board. My only complaint with this was I kind of wish it was in its own bigger sleeve versus having the other one behind it, because I think it makes it difficult to pull this in and out. But that's like a minor gripe. All right, so this Monster MD, I kind of figured based on that he was a doctor that was a monster, which is kind of basically that. I mean, you see his arm, it's like Frankenstein. But there's a reason for it. He's not Frankenstein. He is a doctor for monsters. And part of that is he has to take care of monsters who are sick. And sometimes those monsters aren't great. And then he also has to deal with a very major monster that caused him to be who he is today, which isn't necessarily the best thing. So as you can see, it's similar in terms of like paneling and stuff, where it's all black and very simple paneling, but dynamic panels. Here he is helping a werewolf, trying to get them fixed. He has her, she's completely invisible. She is human, but she's invisible. I don't want to give too much away in her situation, because that was a story that I wasn't really expecting it to be so sad, but also heartfelt, you know? This was just a fun story. So basically it goes over his history, how he was a medical student, and he was going over like dissecting dead bodies and stuff like that to learn more, which isn't like unusual in the medical industry. That's what happens when you donate your body for science. A lot of the times it goes to research and medical students, but he was doing it like he wasn't supposed to be doing it. He found out someone actually came back to life that he was dissecting, and that was like his first monster encounter. And through her, he attracted a really big bad monster who took his arm, and basically he was then never able to graduate and stuff like that. So he's just like a rogue doctor in a way. And I do like it because there's a vampire kid down here, and he's just like really goofy, and they're not scary monsters necessarily. They're just fun, and there's some jokes. Like there's a praying mantis. She didn't know what happened to her husband, and it's like, well, praying mantises eat their husbands, basically. They eat their mates. So it's just fun stuff like that. And there's some horror elements in here, obviously, because they're monsters. There's still some blood and all that. But overall, I really liked the story. I did feel it was a little long at some parts, but it was still fun. And yeah, I really liked exploring the world of monsters and them needing a doctor, and he's the only one that can take care of them because of his skills, the fact he has nowhere else to go, the fact he's kind of like a monster himself because of his arm, which I forgot to mention. The reason this is important as a doctor for him is if the monsters bite him or anything there, it doesn't affect him. So if a vampire bites him there, he won't turn into a vampire and vice versa. And there's just some fun illustrations in the back. And more thank you. So it was a really fun ride, and I liked just seeing all the different monster interactions that he had. Some of them are funny, some of them are like, oh, he could die. Some of them are just like over dramatic for no, like the monsters are being over dramatic for no reason type thing, and yeah. So I definitely recommend checking this out. It was if you like monsters, especially if you like comedy monsters and horror monsters, definitely recommend. And I haven't heard anything about like a part 2 for this. I'm hoping there is, because I would like to see more. I'm not entirely too sure where the next story would go because of how it ended, but you never know. I don't know what goes on in the guy's mind. So we'll see. So yeah. Alright, so I'm going to try and put this back in the sleeve, which is a struggle because it's so thick. And then I can't really say anything about this because I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to. So yeah, that is Monster MD and Here in the Trenches from Von Close from Rise Again Comics. If you like monsters and horror and stylized comics in general, this is definitely a go-to, in my opinion. Probably my favorite I've read almost out of everything. So now we're going to go to Private American. So this is written by Mike Barron. I have a print in the back. I think I have 2 prints in the back. Yeah, I have 2 prints in the back. So these are 2 covers. So this is the cover I chose, and this is another cover that it's available in. So Mike Barron used to write for The Punisher. I have a Don't Step on Me or Don't Tread on Me sticker. And due to some issues, he had to step away from writing for a while and then came back as an author, and now he's doing comics again. And I love, he's a real treat to listen to when he talks. He's a very down-to-earth person, and he comes from a place of really loving the story and really loving creating and writing, and he enjoys what he does. I don't think I've listened to someone talk about story and process and stuff like that like him in a long time. I believe he is on YouTube. I know he's on Twitter. I'll link that. This was on Fund My Comic because some people, unfortunately, took the premise of the story and they took it the wrong way and they got it removed from Indiegogo, I think, or Kickstarter. So that's kind of why I wanted to share this too. So this is so first of all, the Private American is about an American who he's at the border and he is basically going after bad guys down there. Drug smugglers, human traffickers, stuff like that. And oftentimes they do that while pretending to help people across the border. And this is not something that's a secret. There's often times where people will go to these bad people and think that, oh, they're going to help me, get to a better life, yada, yada, yada. And they wind up being trafficked instead and horrible things happen. It's really sad. And that's kind of what this character does. He's not going after people trying to come over. He's going after people who are trying to take advantage of their vulnerability in this situation. So we can see here that starts to happen where these people are like, oh, well, what are you going to do? And I mean, it's not super graphic, but it's a little graphic. But he comes over and he basically kills them. And he leaves, the people who were victims alone. He lets them, go on their way. And because he's kind of like a vigilante doing this, he catches the eye of the wrong people, because some of these people are part of the bad guys and want to take advantage of these people for nefarious reasons. And because he's a vigilante, it's not exactly something that law enforcement and the government want happening. So he has to basically go through and protect the innocent people while trying to not get killed from everyone else who doesn't like him doing this. And I thought this was a really well-drawn story, or well-written story. It wasn't like super preachy or anything. It actually wasn't political as people kind of made it out to be. He's just someone going after bad guys. That's really all this is. And bad guys are trying to go after him because he's messing with their operations. And yeah, that's that. But I thought it was really nicely done. There are people who are like him who want to help because it's like, yeah, I love this country. I don't want these bad people to take advantage of others trying to come over. I don't want them trying to put everyone in danger for their criminal organizations, basically, So we go on and see how that goes, and he gets help from them, and he gets bad guys going after him. It's just some intense stuff, but I enjoyed it. It was not anything like people made it out to be. I think it was really aware of why people do the things they do and understanding of it and explaining that and not making them out to be the bad guy. Really focusing on like, yeah, we should help people who are in need. It was just, I don't know, it was nice. I mean, yes, there's a lot of action and violence, but it was good. And I'm curious to see what Private American 2 is going to do. I'm not sure when that's coming out. He does have another comic, which I really want. It's called Florida Man. He has 2 of them out now. And it's just about the ridiculousness. Like, you hear the Florida Man stories. Florida Man goes on, like, does stupid stuff. And I just can't, I need to get it because it looks so funny and ridiculous. And I think people need some fun and laughter in their lives. And he also has a 4th comic that he wrote. What is it called? It's a Western, and it's a very gorgeous artwork. I haven't gotten that one. I'm really behind on getting a lot of these comics. And part of that is because I need to be mindful of my spending. Like, I try to keep maybe 1 or 2 comics a month that I support and get, and so I can't get everything. So it's definitely a struggle, but I really enjoyed this. It was not anything intense like people were trying to make it out to be. It was just a nice read, you know. It was action packed, which I like action. It was fun. And fun in terms of like watching the character go from just wanting to help people not be victims of criminals and stuff like that, or gang members and stuff, to all of a sudden he needs to save himself now, you know, from the same bad guys. So yeah, definitely recommend this too. All right, so now we're on Super Dead. So this is from a creator, Mandy Summers, Stuntman Comics. She has a ton of stuff she has worked on. I don't know if you've noticed a theme. I like monsters and horror. So I got this because that looked really interesting and I liked the cover. And I'm like, okay, well, let's take a look. Okay, so it's been a minute since I've read this one, but this is basically, he used to be, oh shoot. He used to be someone of importance, I believe a hero, but he's dead. But he has all these powers and stuff, so he's basically kind of like a rotting corpse in a way, but not really. He lives in the sewers. He is just this creature that's not alive. He's not necessarily a bad guy. And then in here we see like an actual hero, but the hero is actually a creep and a bad guy. You can see here he's trying to like tell this lady, oh, well, I saved you, so, you know, that means, you know, we should be close, and just being, you know, a dick in general. And this is like a very introductory book to Super Dead and his world, what he does, his thoughts on everything. Kind of sets the scene of how the news views the heroes, how the citizens view it, and his kind of like dealing with a lot of this. Because he doesn't remember everything. And he kind of kills people. I believe he kills this little girl, but I don't know if it's on purpose or not. I don't think it's necessarily intentional, but it's just something that happens. So we see here the hero's like, well, I saved you. That means we're a thing now. He tries to take advantage of like that, and it doesn't work out. And it just kind of goes crazy where she dies, and he attracts the attention finally of the hero, and they go on like, they just start fighting and stuff like that. And it's just, when I read this originally, it just came out very narrative and poetic in a way, like just not commentary, but hearing and seeing Super Dead's view of everything as he's going through this process of being in the sewers and trying to remember who he is and trying to exist, I guess. I kind of got from that, like trying to find his place in all this, you know. And I liked that the dynamic was that he wasn't necessarily abusing his powers that I could see, and this hero isn't really a hero, which I like that concept as well. And I'm really curious, and Super Dead 2 is out, or rather she has the campaign for it, which I think is ending soon. At the time of this video, I already backed it, so hopefully I get that soon. And I don't know, I'm curious to see how Super Dead handles this fight with the hero, because he just lasered 2 zombie kids. I don't think this hero is obviously a very good hero at all. So I'm just really excited to see where this continues. And it ties in with her other campaign, which is Gem Shock, which I also backed, which will be arriving hopefully in the next few months. So yeah, go check this out. She has a lot of other comics too. She has Wart the Wizard, which is like a kid-friendly adventure of a wizard named Wart. She does have some other more mature, mature like adult, but like just not for kids stuff. She has Jack the Ripper. There's a couple other titles I'm forgetting their names. But there's a lot of stuff. So I would recommend going to Stuntman Comics and checking out all of her things that she has. So Super Dead was the first comic I read from Mandy, and I'm excited because this was actually a lot. It was a direction I wasn't expecting in a good way. I was like, oh, it's monsters, it's gonna be a lot of monster fighting or something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is it's deeper than that, So yeah, I would go check out Super Dead if you can, and then grab Super Dead 2 while you still can, if it's available. I don't know if it will be in demand or if she'll put copies up to purchase later. I don't know the timeline of that, but just go follow Stuntman Comics, the website, and hopefully you can get that if you missed the campaign. All right, so I have here MetalShade. This is from another indie author, obviously. Where's the number? Okay, I actually didn't back these on anything. I got these off their website at Kira Studios, I think it is. I did, however, back one of their recent Kickstarter campaigns. I think it was about her right here and her origin, so I think it was number 0. What drew me into MetalShade was primarily the art. Like, same thing with Terror in the Trenches and Monster MD. I like the stylized art a lot. It's just who I am. So this is number 1. This is number 2. The reason this is in black and white, this is what they call the ashcan version, which kind of like with Hatch. Got a print and some stickers. This is just your standard floppy here, which is totally fine. This is definitely for a more mature audience with some of the content, but nothing like too... It's just for a mature audience. I mean, it's your usual like fighting and not necessarily gore, but just normal fighting and blood and stuff. So because this is the ashcan version, just the black and white pencils, I got this. It was a little more expensive, but I got it because I like the cover the most, for one. And I thought it was interesting from an artist's perspective to really go in and see the borders here. I don't know if you can, yeah, you can see it, of the paper and the guidelines of the comic. And from a learning perspective, that was really important because I'm like, oh, I can see the guidelines of the paper that he's using and see how that looks. What does that look like? I love looking at process stuff. And I like this little guy. He's kind of fun. It's like I want to say it's kind of sci-fi, maybe more science fantasy. I like the power element, like not superpower, but like supernatural powers, I guess. But it's just really cool to see that here. And you can see, like, again, the artist's perspective, the process of doing the background characters, how that looks so far with the sketching. And I really love the detail in a lot of these panels as well. I love this character. I think that's what sold me the most, is she has a cool character design. And I'm like, yeah, I want to see that. So this one is the full comic. So she is trying to get more energy. I think it's something to do with her and seeing visions in the future, I believe. At least that's kind of how I took it. I don't think it's the future specifically, but she gets visions of a type. So here we have another double page spread, which is, it's kind of crazy, like, to go from reading it like this to this. So it's kind of like interactive in that way. I don't know, it was fun. Yeah, so here she has these visions of who these, like, what is this, who's that, who's this, which I thought was interesting. And she's like, just, I don't know, her character itself is fun. She's very, I don't want to say go with the flow, but she accepts like what comes her way, I guess, and the futures that she could potentially see with these people. So this character, I'm really bad with names, so that's why I don't remember anybody's names in these comics, even though I've read them like 50 times. I don't think she's necessarily a villain. I think she's just kind of like on her own mission to get rid of and to prevent this big baddie from existing and taking over, which is similar to what she's kind of seeing here. She's seeing the big baddie and these other people involved with that. And she's kind of part of the bad part. They bring in this monster and it's just not a good thing, as you can see. Not a good thing. Another double page spread. Not something you want. Nope. Here she's in like this psychedelic world. This is a really neat panel. I like how that looks. It's not anything like complicated, but it's just an effective panel. It just looks neat. And here's some more. Yeah, so that's like a ton of double page spreads in a row, and the paneling is very unique. I like how he does that. He really focuses on getting interesting illustrations and paneling done. It's not just boxing, you know. Yeah, this one has mostly double page spreads by the end, which is not a bad thing. I have no problem with it. So here we can see more double page spreads, and chaos is basically happening because someone was stupid and let that monster thing through. There's some more art at the end. I don't know when MetalShade 3 is coming out. He has so much going on. I might have missed it by now. Or missed an announcement on that, rather. But I am excited for it because I love the art in this, and the story is fun. And I think what makes it fun, too, is the panels and the layout of the pages. They're so dynamic and just... they're all over the place. You know, it's fun. And I like this little creature. He's like hanging out with her. He's fun. I need to reread this too. It's been a minute, and the Kickstarter that he just released with her backstory, I should probably reread this to kind of reintroduce myself to the character, basically, in preparation for that. So yeah, that is MetalShade. And like I said, there's other stories that they're making for their Kickstarters and on their website. I would like to get some more of those books from them outside the Kickstarter, because I think there's a couple other comics that they have that are not MetalShade or are different characters that I would like to have. So definitely go check them out. He's on Twitter and Instagram as well, posting art and stuff like that, and YouTube, where he talks about the process sometimes and just comics in general. So yeah, really great team, and that works on this. I think it's him and his girlfriend. They do fantastic work. Story is fun. I love the artwork and interiors. Yeah, so go check it out. So far, I just have the 2 books from him. Starlight Cats, which is kid-friendly for sure. It's a very cute story. And Inglorious Rex, which is for an older audience. Nothing like super adult, just an older, more mature audience. Kind of like, I'm trying to think of like a good example of what to refer to as. I can't really think of anything. I guess it's not like super violent or anything. It's just the usual, a little bit of blood and stuff. So I want to actually start with Starlight Cats. This is cute. So this is Starlight Cats, and it's about a little girl who has a necklace from her grandmother, and her cat suddenly starts talking, and this necklace is important to these cats who are basically space cats to fight evil. And it starts off with her like being bullied and being unable to stand up for herself. And there you go. A cat named Barnaby. It's not necessarily her cat, but she kind of takes the cat as her own. I believe they're oh shoot. I forgot what country it's based off of. Let me see if I can find it now. Okay, so yes, based in Singapore is where I believe Yanzi's also from, and this is where it kind of takes place. So this little girl is from Singapore. She lives there, and they use kind of like Singapore lore a little bit. But basically, so Barnaby here is obviously a Starlight cat, and she discovers that when this creature attacks them, because they were trying to steal her necklace, because the necklace is very important and powerful to the kitty cats. I'm sorry, this is really cute. And it takes her on an adventure to space, the cat's homeworld, and because she's human, and the necklace activates to her, which is unusual and not allowed, that creates a problem on the cat's home planet where she's basically not supposed to have this jewel connected to her. And they show what the jewels can do, which is bring on, I believe, Signa was his name. Let's see. Yeah, Singa. And she says, no, that's the merlion. That's the symbol of Singapore. And I thought that was kind of neat to tie in how there are two different worlds have something in common, you know. And that's their warrior god type thing. And these evil creature things, I think they're rats, are basically attacking, and she needs to go save them after dealing with the other cats who are upset that she's a human with this power. And yeah, so throughout this whole process, she experiences how to trust herself to fight and learning to fight and stand up for herself by dealing with the cats who don't like her. And I thought that was really nice because she took that lesson and she used it against the bullies from her school. And I thought that was cute. And I'm excited for the second one. Here's some other art from other artists. I love seeing the black and white inks too. It's just really cool. Very neat. And the little kitties. I believe these are their actual cats as well. So Barnaby, Taurus, Masato, and Wobbles. So they have 4 cats. But yeah, I really thought this was cute. Definitely safe for kids. And you know, your classic adventure, learning to stick up for yourself, going to a different world and learning about this power that you never knew you had, like, basically at your disposal for a long time. Yeah, I definitely recommend looking at this too. Very good quality book too. So yeah, if you have a daughter or kid or whatever, nieces, nephews, I think this would be a fun book for them to read, especially if they're not like introduced to comics yet. And for what it's worth, a lot of and then Inglorious Rex. So this is more fun and crazy. This is there's actually a supplemental that goes with it, like a second book. I don't know where it went. It's kind of gives backstory to the main characters. So this basically is in like a kind of like an apocalyptic world where they have monster fighting, which are these things who are genetically tied to their fighters. And they get stronger, obviously, when they win, and genetic modifications and stuff like that. And they can also be used to fight dangerous stuff outside the city, because outside the city, it's not really safe. It's just dangerous. So to keep them kind of like strong and, you know. Okay, my bad. This is a supplemental. I don't know why I was thinking it wasn't. I have all these Inglorious Rex covers. I think I just got thrown off. Okay, so this is the one that I had that was not, that's the actual book. Okay, there we go. This is a supplemental backstory of this guy and her, how they met and became a couple, which was actually kind of cute. Also had a lot of depth to it. I love the artwork in here. It's just very detailed, and the monsters are really cool. I mean, who doesn't like these monsters? So if you like, again, monsters, if you like these weird creature monsters, definitely recommend. So these things will fight to the death sometimes, heads knocked off. It starts off with his girlfriend in the ring. She's a big fighter for this. He doesn't start off that way because his brother was killed, and he didn't make the cut, basically, on his own. So he just supports her. But his brother's fighter, basically, he's called 232. You can see they're kind of not docile, but they're not like instantly angry and mean. And yeah, so this guy is in charge of like the fighters, the Rex monster things. He's the bad guy who killed his brother. So he's basically going on a revenge fight. He is connecting to this guy, who genetically wise, he's not really connected to, because this is based off his brother's DNA to connect psychically and stuff like that. But he's going to force it anyway because he's really mad at this guy for killing his brother. And that causes a lot of issues because they have now built a unique connection between him and this monster Rex thing. And it's basically he shouldn't be able to do what he's doing. So that causes a lot of issues between him and everyone else, especially because he wins the fight, which means he has to go against his girlfriend. There's a lot of just conflicts that are arising because he just wanted to. Because, oh shoot, what's his name? Where is he? Oh no, where did he go? Here we go. He is in charge of the fights, and he kind of talks the guy into it. Like, oh, it'd be a great money pool, basically, is kind of where he comes from it. And he takes the bait, basically, but no one's expecting him to win. And he wins. So, it's just really great fight scenes in here, really amazing colors, and this is the outside world. So this is why they're all stuck in this one area. And that's why they have the Rexes, because they need them to fight all the crazy shit outside that, where they live. Yeah, I really like this. A lot of action, a lot of great panels, I love the artwork. The story is fantastic. Kind of a revenge story, but I'm curious to see where his actions are going to take him. Sorry for the cover, but this is the one I pulled. It's just a really good story. I'm really excited for Inglorious Rex 2, which is coming out next year, which I've already backed. The fight scenes are fantastic. I kind of wonder how long it takes them to redraw these monsters, because these are some pretty intense monsters. So, if you like fighting and monsters and action, this is definitely a good comic to get. Especially, if I would recommend getting the supplementals, just because it gives more backstory to the characters and why they started fighting. Hers was really sweet. It had to do with family and survival. You know, it wasn't that she just wanted to fight for the sake of fighting. She had to fight to keep her family alive, so to speak, to survive. So that's all in here. And this is all in black and white. And there's some color in the end. And the color part explains what happens to the brother. So, really enjoyed that. Okay, and now we're going on to the last of the, not the last, but this video is getting really long. I actually have two more, no, I'm sorry. This is 1, 2, 4, yeah, 2 more to go through because they're actually on my shelf. And then we'll be done. So this is Isom. And this is Alphacore. This is from Rippaverse Comics, from Eric July, or Young Rippa, who on YouTube. If you don't know anything about this, cool. If you do, also cool. Basically, the not too long didn't read is Eric July just didn't like where comics were going. They weren't as good anymore. They were taking the history of characters and altering them. It's just not for the better, you know. So he got tired of it and he worked really hard, took his audience and said, I'm just going to make a comic company and we're going to try and fill a gap where there's a gap. So I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. Sounds good. So he started with Isom. This is Isom 1. Yeah. So I have a bunch of covers for this, but this is my reader copy, so this is why I'm taking it out. Because I don't want to mess with the other ones, because they're really nice. So basically the character is Avery, and what they have, instead of like X-Men, it's X-Eps. They're exceptional, they have powers, there's something unique about them, and he is no longer a hero. He's retired, he works somewhere in Texas on a farm, and he gets a call that someone who's a friend of the family is missing, and they want him to go kind of like look into it because he knows the people involved from way back when. And that basically goes and causes a huge issue between him and that other guy, because the other guy, his old friend, basically kind of doesn't like being low-key accused of basically someone snooping around his business. And this entire book 1 is set up to build the world and the universe, because there's other characters that are involved, other stories that were going to be being pulled off from it, so we get introduced to a lot of different elements here very early on. I mean, I'll kind of see like his power, not his power, but what makes him an X-Ep. So we see Yaira, we get introduced to her. You know, she is hinted at not being human in a way, like there's something about her that's different. We get introduced to Alphacore, which just recently came out, what they're responsible for and stuff like that. And that there's this underground world, obviously, of crime. So he gets thrown, basically, into her by accident, and then gets thrown into a freaking car, but he lives. So, this is an ad for his wife's business, which was really sweet. I thought that was cute. She does a lot of jewelry and stuff, so definitely go check it out. Just saying. And then we get to see how he's moving through this world, and he finds the girl that he was tasked to find, but something is amiss about it, and it triggers a whole situation of there's more than meets the eye, basically. It's not just a case of, oh, she's just being rebellious or not wanting to deal with family or something. There's something else going on. And, yeah. And I thought this was a cute moment with him and his niece. she makes a comment that he's stronger than he looks or something. And he's like, wait, what? Kids are observant, you know. She notices that there's something different about him. And I thought that was really cute. Cute family moment. And then at the end, we get this band, Norfolka. And they look really awesome. I don't think they're human at all because, where is it? You know, they have powers as well. But they're here for a different reason. They're like a traveling band, you know, bad bands travel. And it seems like they're in search of something. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what are you in search of, you know? And I'm curious to see how that pans out. I'm really excited for Norfolka. And then there's Yaira. Backwards is Eric July's band. And then this is just kind of like a statement on the company. Yeah, so I'm curious to see how this is gonna, I mean, I read part 2, so a lot of this is starting to come to an end. It's a 3-part arc. All right, that's the first one. Here's the second one. The cover is actually done by the same artist for Inglorious Rex, which is pretty cool. I like to see that. A lot of artists will do that too. Or a lot of creators, they'll like make covers for each other, which I think is really nice. Alright, so this is not a reader copy, but I really like this cover. Very shiny, very glossy, very fun. I must be very careful with it. So again, there's the statement of the company. They're very big on keeping timelines and not retconning things. So here we see his sister basically going after him. He's up to no good, right? And we get to see what caused Isom to stop being a hero. Now, this was kind of an interesting part to me. I cared more about this than anything, like in the beginning, than anything else. So we have, looks like a comic convention. These 2 kids are there. The girl's dressed up as a hero for a show that she never watched, but she likes the design, which is not unusual. And we have the kid who actually does know everything about it. And they're hiding from this guy. And he's trying to help him escape, but he fails. Because for whatever reason, this creature guy, Chandran, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, he is not responding to anything that Isom throws at him. You know, he's like not invincible, but to some degree he kind of is. He's so focused on going after this girl, and because he thinks she is actually who she's dressed up as, and basically kills her. And that it wasn't that he lost. He said that was the worst part about it. It's the fact that nothing he did did anything. He was helpless to. He had never felt so helpless, you know. And because he was no longer powerful, he was basically just as weak as this girl was. And I think that's interesting. It's not the loss that affected him, it's how he lost. You know, that realization that he was no longer capable of saving someone, you know. So he decides to come back as a hero anyway, because he wants to do more with the crime that's going on and related to his family's friend. And I love this. So at the end of book 1, these things pop up and basically kidnap and burn down his friend's business or wherever he works. And these things are like totally not even human. And I was like, whoa, what the hell? So this took a really crazy turn, and I like that. I'm like, you set up this world of what we thought was just going to be normal world, normal people with just superpowers, right? No. We're going beyond that. We're going to add more. And there's this guy who does a lot of tech stuff. He's really responsible he's putting out the fire for where Avery works. And get another glimpse of Alphacore and realizing that there's something wrong and that they need to fix some stuff. And like with Yaira and investigating things. And Braxwell knows something's wrong with Avery. So he's gonna get his own book as well, which I'm excited for. He's like a dorky tech guy. Yeah, so I'm curious to see where this all takes the story, because he gets set up from Avery's sister. They get caught doing illegal shit. There's like a wrestling tournament type thing that looks like it's a front for something. And not to be spoilers, but then that guy is talking to this lady. There's a lot of characters in here, and I'm not explaining any of this right, because I'm also kind of rushing because this video is so long already. But this is Yaira, and you can tell because her hair turns blue. And when I saw that, I was like, wait a second. So not only is she wanted by Alphacore, but she probably daylights as an evil business owner or something. I don't know. I think that's going to be interesting to see play out. And I'm excited for that. There's just a lot that goes on, and I'm just going to skip to my favorite part, which is Sydney Bloodruth, who is not, like, when I first saw, like, her in some of the ads, like, oh, cool, she's, like, a witch-type character, she uses magic, but she has a freaking dragon, man, like, that's pretty awesome. I don't know, I thought that was cool. And we learn through her that there is other I have to say this right, universes, but not timelines. So we see her help Avery go after these Hellions who basically kidnapped his boss / coworker / friend. And I'm just curious to see how this is going to end, because now I want to know if this big baddie, because they seem to know something is wrong with Avery, that they seem to know more about him than we do, and I'm excited to see where that takes us and how this is all going to tie in the third book, because that's a pretty big baddie. That's not an easy boss. I don't even know what to call that. That's intense. But it could also be his redeeming arc of the fact that he couldn't beat Shadrin. I'm never going to pronounce that name right. Because he just didn't work out. So I'm wondering if this will be the redeeming arc, if he can beat him, and then wrap up the criminal investigation that's going on with the, what's his face? That basically the guy from the club in the first book. And then here's just a sneak peek of Alphacore and Yaira. Yaira's on the bottom, Alphacore's on the top, and I have Alphacore right here. Yaira won't come out till the winter. I am very excited for that. It looks amazing. So Alphacore, as you can see here on the cover of Isom 1, they're kind of like a police force. They're a governmental agency, basically. They're super cops. And I was not expecting them to be the way that they are in the book, because I was expecting them to be like very heroic, very not prideful, but like, we're superheroes, we want to save people. He's kind of a dick. He comes off really full of himself. So we start off with like a bank robbery, and this guy is going to try and blow up the bank, and Solari stops him. I remember their names because I just reread this a second time. And he's not supposed to. Their whole premise is they only show up when they're called for people who have special powers, which is the Accepts. And he doesn't care. He's like, well, I could save that person, so I'm going to go save these people. And he gets in trouble for it. And he gets yelled at. And she doesn't have any powers that we know of. At least in this book, she doesn't say she does. And he's being lectured about how he shouldn't be doing this. And she's trying to point out that there's kind of like a protocol and a chain of reaction or chain of command that he is not paying attention to, and he doesn't seem to care. And she's also poking fun that he insisted on having a cape. So it kind of like tells me he might have a superhero complex. Like, yes, he's capable of doing things, but he's kind of putting a show on for himself as well. Here's a evil, not evil, but he's just an accept. I mean, he kind of is evil. He's not exactly a great person. So they have a falling out and stuff, and it was kind of interesting to see that they're not a tight-knit group at all. And she kind of, they're called freaks to some degree, which, you know, because they had powers and he could fly, all that. And I think she kind of agrees with that sentiment, but the only reason she's on the task force is because she has really good investigative power, or not powers, but investigative skills. So she thinks she could be of more use there. So her outfit gives her an ability. I don't believe it's based on an ability. So basically they're investigating who this guy was that was trying to bomb the bank, and why he was doing it, because it didn't make sense. He's just a nobody. Where to get the skill, all that powerful. They see this lawyer that tries to defend him, and they know something's wrong because he also seems to be the lawyer who's trying to paint them in a bad light on TV. And he also is a lawyer of the guy with the electric powers they capture, who then kills this guy. Basically, something's wrong. This is not a normal criminal action of an independent person. And I like, okay, this guy looks a little dorky, but he was a really great addition to the story. He's a cop that helps her, and we kind of like see her talk about how she's not a freak, she's a cop. And Wilkins is his name. Alright, I forgot his name. He helps her, and she finds out he has a little bit of a power himself. And she kind of feels bad for talking about freaks and stuff when she didn't know. But it's just a really nice moment where he's kind of like the underdog in a way, where he's not the best cop, not the best except, but he does his job and he cares about keeping the city safe and the people, and he loves what he can do. I think that's kind of important. So we have two battles going on. It's just because they're trying to find out why the bank was going to be blown up to begin with. And it's basically a trap to hack into the main headquarters of the Alphacore. So, yeah, it leads to it falling and taking control and basically damaging the city. And not only does it damage the city, it's going to sway public opinion about Alphacore. Because if they can't keep their giant ship safe from killing people or potentially putting them in danger, then, you know. Yeah, so there's a big multi-layered issue with Alphacore going on. And here's Wilkins, and this is kind of a spoiler, but I really liked this touch where he was told that his exit powers aren't necessarily useless. If he practices, you could get him stronger. And knowing that, I believe he can control metal or influence it. He refused to let his city fall because of this being hacked. And he sacrifices his life by pushing himself to the limit and stopping it. And I thought that was a very heroic action, and it was a really nice touching moment. And I think also it gave some depth to like what Except can and cannot do, like what happens when you push yourself too far. You know, like their power isn't infinite, basically. But they don't have hard proof, so they're just kind of they're going to have to figure that out in the next one, I think. And I really like the story. And it was written by Chuck Dixon, who is another DC writer, industry vet. So this was just really done well. Okay, so the next one is Cyberfrog. So I'll open this. It's from All Caps Comics. You can buy them on eBay. He does have Indiegogo campaigns for the third one. I don't know when that's coming out, to be honest. This one took 2 years, I believe, around there. So it does take a while to get them done. So if you don't want to wait that long, I would just wait till they are for sale on the eBay store and just buy them direct. He does have copies like this where there's like some damage, I think, to them somewhere, or they're not like perfect condition, so you can get them at a discount. So yeah. This is Cyberfrog, and this is a really pretty book in terms of color. I believe that's Kyle Ritter. He's responsible for that. But it's basically just a frog from an alien planet who needs to save Earth from some wasps. It's not a very complex story, but it is really fun in terms of like going through Cyberfrog. Here he is right here. Just watching Cyberfrog go from, you know, the normal Earth time of the late 1990s, I think it was, or 80s or something like that. Trying to fight off this alien invasion of these wasp type things, and he fails basically, and when he goes into hibernation mode to recover the damage, and because of that the world is taken over by the wasp things. So he basically failed. So now he has to go find his one and only friend, Heather Swain, because he promised her he would always find her if she was in danger. So, yeah. And that's the premise of book one. It's just like an introductory to what's happening, who Cyberfrog is, who the characters are, what their purpose is, and just setting the scene for the next couple books. It was very good, and I was a little sad I had to wait so long for the second one. So this one came with like a deleted scenes, which was just some ideas that were never finalized or used in the actual book. They were fun to like see other artists create, and overall just entertaining stories. So I got this. So this is another floppy. It's very thick. I will not lie. I wish it wasn't stapled like that, because the cover doesn't stay down very well, and it kind of worries me it's gonna get damaged. Whew. But yeah. All right, so it kind of starts off leaving where we left off in the first one. The Vispiz, Vispiz, I think that's how you call it. They're taking over the world, and he does find Heather Swain, which is good, and she has a daughter, so obviously time has passed by a lot. And they find out that the Vispiz are still around and still killing people, but there aren't many humans left because they're used as food for the alien wasp things. And yeah. And he's disconnected from the main source of that brought him to being, basically, which is his mother, so to speak. And yeah, so she brings him back, and people aren't very welcoming to him, including her daughter, because it's just like he was a legend and now he's there and he never stopped anything and nothing's really changed, it seems. So they're all just in survival mode, trying to live, and he's kind of catching up to how humans are living again. So it's kind of like he's starting over again, you know, but he does learn the new life of these humans and how everything is now on Earth. He kind of like gets to know who these people are that are surviving, and this guy doesn't really like him. He kind of sees him as a threat because he's like, well, we didn't have any attacks before this guy showed up, which isn't necessarily true, but that's just how he sees it. And yeah, so her daughter runs off to find her dad because of this evil lady here. And that sends Cyberfrog and Heather Swain off on a journey to go find her. And I believe this is where... Let's see. Yes, he gains the knowledge to understand the wasp things. Somewhere in here, he gets help for that. And he finds out that the humans were only allowed to live as a food source. Wearing red does not keep them safe. Hiding in the woods doesn't keep them safe. Everything that they thought kept them safe was a lie. The wasps can attack them whenever they want. And that becomes a problem because now Heather Swain and everyone in her new little village basically is in danger. And it just poses a real problem because if you have no way of keeping yourself safe, it kind of means you're back to survival 101. How do you defend yourself? And then here's Salamandroid, which is Cyberfrog's brother. He shows up again to help. And that's kind of where that ends. So the third one is where we see them rescue her daughter, who gets taken by the wasps. Where do you see it? Over here. So, and hopefully Cyberfrog can heal and repair himself and be a hero again, because he's kind of on the path of failure right now. So we'll see. I believe this will come out the third one will come out end of next year. I don't know. So yeah, but there's like ads for a lot of his products you can buy right now. So yeah, he's got some toys, which is pretty cool. Mugs, stuff like that. Kind of like you used to be able to get with stuff. This is his wife, which is cute. Yeah, so this was a really fun read. It's not like, I wouldn't consider it a super fast-paced story, which is not a bad thing. You can kind of live in the moment as you're getting used to the new world of humans, adjusting to the wasps and surviving and seeing all these evil things. It's kind of like a zombie story in a way, where the wasps are the zombies, but the humans are like just as dangerous, It's kind of like that. If I would have to compare it to something, which might be why I enjoyed it. I am curious though more about her, because it seems like she has some powers and some abilities, so I would like to see that explored more, because it wasn't really hinted at too much. There are some older books from way back when that he has, but I never read those because I don't know how much will be canon, how much will be redone, So, yeah. We'll see what Cyberfrog 3 looks like. Okay, so this is a big box. My boyfriend, we kind of split who we back because I can't do it all and he can't do it all. This is just a collector's box, basically. This is Fiendish by Irene, or Rini. This is a fantastic series. Oh my god. Ugh. Okay, so one complaint I have, not really complaint. Some people don't put the sealable sleeves in here, which is fine. I understand why. But sometimes it's kind of frustrating because they get caught up and then I get panicked. It's going to ruin the book. All right. So I'm just going to pull out those 2 copies. So the rest of the stuff in this box are stickers, other covers for the same book, like cover variants. Oh my gosh. There's an art book in here. There's a lot of stuff in here. You don't need to get everything, but it's always fun to get everything when a creator offers it. All right, so this is book 1 and book 2. Another Dan Lawless print. Oh, he is everywhere. Got some cards down here. So this is a really fun book too. I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. It is a high fantasy adventure mystery. These things that come from another world basically have killed his family, and he knows what to look out for in terms of when they're, like, if someone dies mysteriously, he knows the signs of what killed them, if it was those monsters or not. And they wind up killing her family. I don't know if I should call them her family, but she sees them as family because she is a species that is like frowned upon and are considered slaves, but because whoever bought her basically treated her like a person, you know, they loved her, they treated her with respect. So they get caught up in that when her caravan gets demolished by these creatures. And now she has nowhere to go, so she kind of teams up with them. And I think I'm going too far. I think I'm going a little far here. Yeah, so book 1 is they all get freaking killed. And then we see that there's another language of this lady here who's kind of saying the same thing, that something's wrong. Here's some inks and work in progress stuff. And yeah, so that's kind of like the introductory to it, like the mystery, what killed everybody, what was this thing, what is she gonna do now? Is this thicker? Yes. So book 2 is much longer. So here, this is when we see that because her family's died, she's basically going to be sold off again, which she doesn't want because she knows that she was very lucky in her treatment. So she decides basically to go after these 2 guys and team up with them. He's not too thrilled about it, but he kind of makes her prove herself with fighting. And she offers her family's basically belongings as supplies for him to prove that she is helpful and is worth something. And this is where they go on and kind of get to know each other and just try and discover what these creature monster things are doing in the forest all of a sudden. And we kind of get introductory of like the wilderness, how dangerous it is, the fact that not everyone is good. You know, you're in the wilderness. It's high fantasy. There's criminals out there. There's bad people, and all sorts of things are happening. And there's the language of the book. So, really, really fun story. I enjoyed it. Very high fantasy. Very magic focused, which I liked. It also has a lot of lore that she's focusing on, which is really cool. Like, if you like a lot of lore in your stories, she has tons of it. I mean, she just has a ton of it. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen now that he basically sees these creatures again and how he's going to resolve that. Oh, and then this kid also has powers too. He can kind of see the memories of other people and the feelings, which he can share with someone else, and it kind of like messes with you. Like, I mean, if you basically remember the worst event in your life and it just gets brought up when he touches you or something, it's kind of traumatic. So I'm excited to see what the next one is. She does have a campaign for 2.5. There's like an in-between story. So we'll see what that is about and how that goes. So yeah, if you like high fantasy and mystery and again, monsters, kind of a theme, I would definitely recommend checking this out. The art is really pretty, very simple. Not simple, but very clean, and I like her environments for the cities. Like, that just looks really nice. You know, she puts a lot of detail into I don't know how to say it. Iconography? That's not how you say it. I can't say it. I don't know why I can't say it. She puts a lot of detail into that stuff, though. Symbolism and things like that. And I think that's really important to have in a story with fantasy. You want to make sure you're putting that symbolism in there and that it means something. So I'm definitely curious to see how all of that plays out, too. Especially in book 2. You see it. We see this lady with her appearance and markings. We see it in the houses. Let's see. Yeah, these are marking on this house. It's kind of like a flame symbol. You know, there's reasons for stuff. It's not just like, oh, there's something that she recognizes, you know. There's purpose to a lot of this. And I think that's really important to storytelling elements, especially in a comic. Because you're looking at images and illustrations and pictures. You should be able to recognize a lot of that stuff and pick it up. So, yeah, I'm excited to see where this takes the story in the next 2.5 and 3. It is on Fun Comic, and I believe she has a website as well. So she also worked for Marvel, I believe, for a little bit. So she also has some experience, if that interests you. Yeah, it was fun. I'm gonna have to read it again too, because I think I missed some stuff. So yeah, go check out Fiendish. So that's all the comics. Well, actually, there's probably some missing or that I haven't received yet, but that's most of the comics that we've backed from independent creators. Yeah. I would check out all of these. I'll link everything in the description below. This is the type of stuff that will be shown on the Indie Takeover streams and videos and stuff like that, because like this is a plethora of amazing stories and worlds and characters. I mean, this is a lot, and I think people need to know that there's so much more out there than what you see at the store. I mean, this is like maybe, I don't want to say a year's worth of stuff. There's a lot that I still haven't received yet. But this is a lot. A lot of the stuff came out the last 2 years, you know, and it's worth looking into and buying and reading and supporting a lot of these creators that are putting a lot of effort into this. And in my opinion, most times a lot more effort than what I see from the official comic creators like DC and Marvel. I've always loved indie stuff, and I'm really glad I'm getting back into Western comics, because I don't have to worry about reading this or saying, oh, I want to read Inglorious Rex. Where do I start? There's only one number 1. It's not number 1 of the 5th restart. You know, I'm not getting that, which is fantastic. So when you start these series, you will be able to start the series and never have it get changed 2 years later because they want to reboot it a 20th time, which I think is fantastic. There's just so much here, and I already have so much I still haven't received yet and still haven't even read. So that's kind of the point of the Indie Takeover, though, is showing all of the great creators out there, big and small, mostly small, of independents who just need to get their stuff out there. I mean, it doesn't even have to be anything intense. Like I said, Hatch is not like some crazy action story, but it's still fun, and I loved it. Same with Bloodstain. It's not like a super action book, but it's still fun and entertaining. Starlight Cats, well, it's kind of actiony. Super Dad doesn't have like a ton of action in it, but it's still got like mystery and really interesting world building. I'm excited to see where that goes, and all this stuff from independent people who deserve to have more eyes on it and more readers and more people interested. And it's hard to do that on your own, which, I understand that's the whole purpose of independent. You're independent for a reason, but I kind of want to help give a boost to people who are putting that effort in and just need a little bit of a boost. And I know I follow some people who are also authors. I would love to have on and get more people buying their books, because you guys work so hard on that as well. And yeah, so that's this is a long video, so I'm sorry, but that's the soft launch for the Indie Takeover. So really the only rules to be part of this live stream to promote your stuff, which I kind of am starting off with once a month right now, is to make sure your project is either already launched and live, so people can go check it out, or it's launching within the next few weeks. That way, when you go to pitch your project, people aren't waiting 6 months to a year and forget about it. It's solely going to be focused on you and your project. I might have maybe 2 or 3 of you on it at a time. Might be like an hour or 2 long, but it will be solely focused on you pitching your work, sharing it with people, people getting to know the person who made it, which is awesome, which you don't normally get to do, and really get people excited, because I watch some streams like that and it's fun, it's exciting. There's so much out there, it's ridiculous. I can't back everything, but you bet I bookmark that stuff to get later. So yeah, that's really the only rules. So yeah, I'll leave my email down below in the description. That way, if you want to get it started and connect and get your project on a stream, we will do that. And yeah, so email me, we'll get a date and time going, link it up with some other people, and get your stuff promoted. 2024 is the year of indie. I'm telling you right now, I just know it, and I'm excited. All right, so thank you for watching this really, really long video. I'm going to try and edit it down to at least just an hour. Go check out all of these projects. They will all be linked in the description. And I will see you in the next Indie Takeover.